the bench press for the weightlifting. There's a couple different things we want to talk about. Again, from a powerlifting perspective, what's going to be the best foot stance, hand distancing apart, and also way we want to set up our body. So bear with me while we talk through this. The goal today is your hands need to be 72 inches within 72 inches apart from each other, which if we think about not 72, 32, that would be absurd. 72 would be pretty much the whole length of the whole bar. 32 is going to be pretty dang close to 3 feet. So as long as you're not all the way maxed out to the end of the bar, we're going to be in a great spot at the end of the day. The goal here as I set this up is if I can go thumb distance from the grain, this is going to be your best bet. If you have longer arms, then I would recommend going pinky to that first ring. That will be the distance we're going for me. I don't have humanly large arms, so I'm only going from this distance here. The setup is I need to unrack the bar where it's directly over my forehead. I will actually have a spotter unrack it for me. Insert transition cue or whatever. Talking about foot spacing today, the goal we're trying to look for is our feet have to be flat on the ground the entire time. My butt has to be flat on the bench. My shoulders have to maintain contact with the bench. My head has to maintain contact with the bench. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, and 4 points of contact the entire time for this rep to be considered good. Now, the way I like to have my feet is some of us want to bring our feet as close to the bench as we can. For my powerlifting explosiveness exercise, it is actually better if I angle my feet slightly pointed out. So when I drive, I actually push through my heels. We're going to do a couple reps together. We're going to talk about this. So as I lay down, my feet are planted. I can get set up from the bar. Forehead is underneath. My heels become slightly anchored underneath me. And you can notice I create an arch underneath my back. But my head, my shoulders, my butt, and my feet are all loaded. Hopefully, if this is a good angle, my hamstrings contracted too at the same point. From here, as I unrack it, you will come down all the way under control to a dead stop on the chest. From there, your instructor will say press. From there, you press up in a straight motion. They will then tell you to rack it. All right, today we're going to continue talking about different ways reps will be considered a no rep at all, ways that we may be pretty bad. Again, the biggest thing will be complete control of the bar. So I'm going to show you a couple bad reps of me just dropping it on my chest. I'm going to show you a couple good reps of where I'm struggling. That will also be considered a no rep that we're not going to do. The high school level, sometimes we just get random bursts of strength and it's still going to be considered a no rep. So as we continue on, we're going to get set up. Should probably pop a question in here. What are the 4 points of contact that I need to maintain the entire time? A little A, B, C, and D in there. We should be in a good spot. All right, from here I'm getting set up. I have my grip. I'm here. Can lock my head, my shoulders, my feet, and my butt. From here, I unrack it. I just drop it on my chest. They say to press it, and I press it. And then I would rack it. If I were to do another rep, it would look like this. Control down, dead stop, press. I'm here. A little bit. Nope, I actually got it. And then I get it. Both of those are a no rep. And the reason for that being is if the bar does not continuously move up, meaning if it comes down just a smidge, it's considered a no rep. So that's why you want to make sure your grip, your foot placement, your head placement is all in the correct spot. When you control the bar down, we are not dropping it. If it drops and sinks into your chest, that is not under control because there is no way we're going to bounce it. Also, to continue from that point on, if they say press and the bar goes back down into my chest trying to create momentum, that is still a no rep. All right, I can almost guarantee, and yes, I'm talking to you, I can almost guarantee that you have not been benching this way for your entire life. And that's okay. There's a couple different ways we're going to train the bench press to increase our strength, our power output, and our overall muscle endurance capacity. The goal that we are trying to train here is we want a relatively fast twitch muscle fiber athlete. One rep, one true all or nothing rep. I do not want us to be the best people who can rep out our body weight for sets of 20, sets of 10. I want your best rep, and after that, we need a 5-minute break. Got to get my lawn chair, pull it out. I got to be eating gummy bears. That is the type of athlete that we are going to be competition day. Now, on our days that we are not competing, there's different things we're going to be doing, which will be eccentric training, isometric training, and partial training. I'm going to show you a couple of what those reps look like now, and then we'll talk a little bit more about them when I see you in person. An eccentric is the actual lowering of the bar at a controlled tempo pace. Isometric is the under control but yet rapid drop and catch of the bar right over the chest. That will help us train the power of coming from a dead stop and creating purely concentric force. And then finally, obviously, partials are going to help us in that lockout portion where we struggle the most. So an eccentric rep looks like this. I get set, points of contact, on racket. And we are down in 1, 2, 3. Soft touch, press, rack. Notice again, there was no downward motion. It is a dead stop of my chest, not a turn off though. All my muscles are still engaged as I'm holding that thing right on my chest. And isometric will look like this. Control down still. Here, 1, 2, 3. Press, rack. Different. It's not a complete turn off. Everything is still engaged. Everything is still firing. That's the way we're going to train this. All right, beautiful. Moving on to the clean and jerk. So I'm pretty sure we are all doing the split jerk. That's going to be the most efficient way to do that. So that's what I'm going to be teaching us right now. With the split jerk, we have to figure out what foot is actually going to be dominant for you. So when we all come in, we are actually going to be doing both legs as our lead leg. And I'll show you how to get out of that. So we'll actually be training that for sure. Biggest thing to start here is going to be the actual power clean and catch that we're going to talk about. Right. The setup for the power clean we're looking for is my feet need to be stacked directly underneath my shoulders. That is going to be the biggest thing that we're talking about this entire day. So a lot of us love to have a wide stance. The only time you're allowed to have a wide stance is going to be on your catch. And I'd love to train that out of it for the most part, because when we are super wide, we're not going to be able to get into that split jerk efficiently. But our starting position all needs to be the same. You are going to walk your shins all the way to the bar. This is your big starting position. From here, it is with a tight shoulder blades pinched together. I'm coming all the way down to grab the bar. All the way down just like this. Now from here, my hands should be directly outside or slightly wider, splitting the difference between this grain and my knee. I'm going to actually prefer to split the distance. From here, I have a big prominent chest. I'm going to pause the camera and show you a picture of what this should look like. Oh, there you are. Did not see you guys there. Again, the biggest thing I'm looking for here, straight line from my hand to my wrist, big prominent chest. My butt is down. On the pole, this is going to be important here. Your shoulders and your hips come up as one. A bad rep looks like this. Notice my butt just went straight up in the air. A good rep is when I come up simultaneously. All right, continue on to the pole. The biggest thing here is we are trying to make contact with the middle of my thigh. So on the pole, everything about this deadlift is slow. If we're trying to deadlift as heavy and as fast as we can, we're going to have bad technique. So our whole deadlift is going to be slow, controlled, till we get to the middle of my thigh. The video I will add in addition to this is called our clean complex. The goal is we're trying to figure out what that spot is in our thigh. Low pull, high pull, hang, catch. Those are going to be the different areas that we are trying to look for. So as I come here, shins to the bar, squat down, split distance simultaneously, hips come through for triple extension. As I go all the way down, up simultaneously, hips come through, I get a pull. The contact comes from the hips. It needs to be powerful. It needs to be explosive. Hips, catch. That is going to be our hang clean portion. One more rep all together. Slow, slow, slow. Hips, catch. Back to the thigh. Back down to the... Small note to correct myself. Hang clean is actually not allowed in this competition. A hang clean is when you take out the deadlift portion. So we are doing the power clean. Power clean, full hang, catch is what this whole term is. So if you ever hear me say hang clean, I'm mostly just talking about the pull and the catch. But the power clean will include the deadlift. We are not doing a traditional hang clean by itself. Next stage to move on from here is we will be doing so much weight that you will actually not be able to catch the bar in the position that I just caught it. So I want to show you what your reps will look like, what they should look like, and a couple things that we need to be mindful of. The goal here is, because we're doing so much weight, the pull is incredibly important. We need to be using our hips for power, which means we cannot be pulling too early. If we pull when I'm at the bottom of my knee, We are way too early. Slow, slow, slow to the middle of the thigh. My hips will pop up. The goal from there is a high pull, high elbows, not high wrist. High wrist equals a reverse curl. High pull equals high elbows. The goal here is we need to be able to pull it right to my xiphoid process, and then we will drop underneath the bar and shoot our elbows. So I'm going to give you a rep of what that should look like. I don't want to go too heavy because, really. So the position as we're moving on here is I'm going to show you the full squat we're looking for. To here, squat it up. One more rep. Simultaneously, hips, pull, squat. All the way up. Whoa. All right, the moment we've been waiting for, the drum roll, the split jerk. Split jerk is a combination of a push press while splitting my feet apart. Now, the secret here to actually having good stability is it's not how long you can split your feet apart. There's a right distance for everybody. There's also a right width. So for me, if I'm going to face directly to the camera, if my feet are directly stacked in line with each other, I have zero base. Zero base. What I want is to actually be at a little bit of a linear 45 with that split. I'm not saying be wide until they do the splits. Otherwise, we can only have girls on this team because I know you fellas can't do that. So the challenge here becomes, what is the right distance for you? Well, depends how heavy the bar is. So as I get set up here, because I want to make sure I stay on this platform, I'm going to get set up. I'm going to do my clean, readjust the feet after the clean, and I stand up all the way, readjust my elbows. From there, it is a dip and a punch over the head, getting my chin out of the way. The rep on the split jerk that is going to be so important for us is there is no shoulder press involved. If you don't instantaneously get a lockout on this rep, that is when it becomes a no rep. So this is not a shoulder press of just trying to hold it right here and punch it as high as I can. You're not going to get the rep. We got to find a way. Shoot the elbows, take the upper body out of the equation, then it is a dip and a punch over the head, and then I'll elongate my feet. We'll see how flexible I am this morning as we start here. Get set up. Reset. And then a half step, re-rack, back to the hips, back down. Simple enough, right? Here, pull, catch, reset, high elbows, half step, re-rack to the hips, down to the ground. The way I brought the bar down is going to be phenomenal. What we are not doing is these good old Disney classic videos when you win a weightlifting competition. We have the bar over our head and then we slam it because we're excited. It's a no rep. And yes, I'm talking to you. That's a no rep. All right. The final movement is going to be the full-on power snatch overhead catch. Again, that's a lot of words. Just means snatch. The foot setup is going to be exactly the same. The hand placement is going to be what's different. If you have mastered the power clean at this point, the snatch is going to be a piece of cake for you. The challenge is how wide do you put your hands? For me, I actually prefer the wider the better. Now the challenge for you guys is going to be, where do I actually go without dislocating my shoulder and creating new levels of the term flexibility? So the challenge here as I get set up is I love to have my pointer finger right on the outside of the farthest ring. So my feet directly underneath the shoulders, squatting down, hands come outside. Again, I have a video linked in addition of our snatch complex to where it's the low pull, all the way down, high pull, and then the full catch, which will come over the head. The challenge for us is if I'm here and I want to pull the bar all the way out wide, I'm going to have a horrible time getting underneath it. That is going to be the hardest part that we do all the way around. So the challenge is the bar stays tight to my body. I should almost feel like I'm going to scrape my nose. Then I can drop my head directly underneath it. As we're here, getting set up, all the way under. Head has got to be through the window, biceps to the ear. The way I unrack it, back to the hips, back to the ground. The challenge for us here is the heavier it gets, we actually have to be able to squat underneath it. So we're going to be training the overhead squat with this grip the entire time. So we're going to slash the weight. So what we're going to do, strip it, and then we just train the overhead squat portion. So as we're here, still want to work on everything we're doing between the low pull, the high pull, and a catch. Now the challenge here is, what does your foot distance look like as you squat all the way down? The more you can squat, the more shoulder flexibility, mobility you have. This is actually a sick photo. This should be the caption, tagline of it. All the way down. Simple enough, right? It's going to be a streamer. I think that would be the best gig ever.